everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here, and I have technically been tagged again. Yes, this time I was tagged way back in the day, not officially on her video, but she did send me a comment saying that I would love to see your input, Lawn Gnome, and that is my good friend teenoflittlehollow, and the tag that she gave me was the chocolate book tag. I know that this has gone all over the booktube community, so it was definitely challenging for me to tag some people, but I did manage to pull through. However, I decided to take a spin on this one and also turn it into a movie tag. So today, you're not going to be getting one tag, you're going to be getting the chocolate book tag and the chocolate film tag. Each of these questions will have two answers, one for book, one for film, and then at the end, I'm going to be tagging booktubers for the books and film reviewers for the film. So let's get started. The first chocolate is dark chocolate. Pick a book or movie with a very dark theme. So the book that I am choosing is Stieg Larsson's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That was definitely a breath of fresh air for me. I absolutely love books whenever I can get my hands on them, and I'm also a firm believer of never judge a book by its movie. So I was very resilient in making sure that I read that book before the American version came out, and I can say that it was an excellent read, and while the film was a little bit different, I am very happy that I did read the first one, and I'm looking forward to reading The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, and apparently there's a fourth one on the way, and I will be reading that as well. I'm just hoping that David Fincher will allow this new franchise to stay alive and give us 2 more films. But that's not the movie that I've chosen. The movie that I've chosen is another David Fincher film. It's Gone Girl. That was the best movie that I saw in 2014. Granted, I haven't seen Boyhood, Whiplash, or Birdman, which I will, and review. That is a promise, every single one of you who has told me that. That's right, I'm looking at you, a few mixed reviews. I'm looking at you, Cinema Darling. I will be doing them, so don't worry. I definitely think that Gone Girl was another breath of fresh air in the film world in 2014. I loved Ben Affleck's performance. Rosamund Pike was phenomenal, and the story just was that black sheep, that sore thumb that just stuck out there, and I just was loving every bit of that movie, even though I was on edge. I have it on DVD, I've watched it 3 times already, I can't wait to watch it again. Gone Girl is my dark chocolate movie. The next chocolate is white chocolate. Pick a lighthearted and adventurous read or watch. The book that I went with is J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. I mean, it's a fantastic adventure. Compared to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it is definitely a lot more lighthearted, and I absolutely loved everything that was part of that book. It is my favorite book. I know that most people read it in their younger years, but I actually read it before the films came out, meaning the Lord of the Rings films. I also read the trilogy as well, but I had to make sure that I read The Hobbit first because it was just that one staple book that I knew that I had to read. I may not be the biggest fan of the films when you compare them to Lord of the Rings, but I absolutely love that book. It's a book that I would suggest to anybody, and the film that I have chosen is Back to the Future. It deals with some very heavy topics, but it is just a great, lighthearted, family-oriented adventure. All 3 parts are great. Some may have their beefs with the last 2 films, but if you want to take a look at something amazing, a real family-friendly adventure, I don't think anyone would disagree with me when I say something like Back to the Future. The next chocolate is milk chocolate. A book or film you are dying to read or see. Well, as far as I'm concerned, even though the movie came out first, I have to say that the book that I am most excited to read, and I do plan to read it, is Star Wars by William Shakespeare. It also has The Empire Striketh Back and The Jedi Doth Return. The whole backstory of the author just made me want to read the book. A kid who loved Shakespeare and loved Star Wars because he was born the year that the original trilogy first began, and he said, I want to combine these 2 things together, and I was reading one passage when I was in a bookstore of the first installment, and I almost was thrown out of the store because I was laughing so hard. I cannot wait to own and read these 3 books. I'm hoping they make more of them just to fill in the rest of the Star Wars saga, but yeah, Star Wars by William Shakespeare, must read for me. Most anticipated and must-see film. It is not the Avengers Age of Ultron. It is not Batman vs. Superman. It's not even Avengers The Infinity War. It is Deadpool. After hearing that Ryan Reynolds was coming back to play this character and seeing the test footage and the April Fool's joke, this is real, this is happening, Ryan Reynolds is going to be incredible in this movie. I don't think this movie is going to disappoint anybody. The comic book faithful, the comic book film watchers, Ryan Reynolds fans, Deadpool fans, we're all gonna sit there and we're gonna eat all of this up with a big, big spoon. The next chocolate is Caramel Center. Pick a book or film that leaves you warm and gooey inside. Stay out of the gutter, people. As far as books goes, would have to be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I love the entire Harry Potter series, book and film. I definitely have my positive things to say about both franchises, but when I want to read a book that just makes me feel good, you gotta go back to the very first Harry Potter book. It's so beautiful, it really truly warms your heart, especially, and we all know this, I mean, if you haven't read or seen Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, where have you been? That scene where he has his first real Christmas really does melt your heart, and that's why that's the book that I have chosen. Now, in regards to a film, the original Toy Story, of course, directed by John Lasseter. I mean, that's a movie that I watch when I'm sick. That's a movie that makes me feel like a kid again. That's a movie that makes me want to play with my toys again. That is just a great all-around movie, and I know that most of you who have been watching my shows would agree with me, especially Ash from the Captain Vitus show. Just so you all know, all of those names that I have mentioned, their channels will be provided in the box below, so check them out as well. The next chocolate is wafer-free Kit Kat. Pick a book or film that surprised you lately. The book that surprised me was The Maze Runner by James Dashner. A lot of people sort of said that it was kind of like a Hunger Games ripoff, but I didn't feel that way in the slightest. I really enjoyed it. It was a real page-turner. I finished the book in a freaking day, for crying out loud. I'm really looking forward to reading The Scorched Trials. The movie, I can't really say much for it compared to the book, but I am hoping that the franchise does end up being successful because the book was very good, and I am looking forward to reading the last two installments of the trilogy, as well as the prequels. And the movie that surprised me lately, I just saw it a couple of weeks ago. It was Cinderella, directed by Kenneth Branagh. At one point, I didn't want to see this movie. So many people were telling me how great it was. I just had to see it, and I loved it. It is one of the best movies that I have seen in 2015. Now, granted, there really hasn't been much amongst the dreck, but I absolutely was blown away by it. I am owning it on DVD when it comes out, and I am so excited to see that movie again. Even though I may not be seeing it in theaters, it really is a true Disney live-action classic, and because of its grandeur and because of how great it made me feel when I walked out of the theater, I am very excited for the live-action films that Disney is making that are on the way, like Beauty and the Beast and The Jungle Book. The next chocolate is hot chocolate. A book or film you go to for comfort. It's actually going to be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone again. It's just a book that makes me feel good. I can't deny that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having one book filling two categories. But film is a little different because Toy Story makes me feel all warm and gooey inside, but if there's a movie that I go to for comfort, it's the other movie I watch when I'm sick, and that's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I love that John Hughes movie. I didn't want to see it when I was little, but my mom practically forced me to watch it when I was 10. I'm so glad she did, because it is one of the greatest teen comedies ever made, and there will never be another. Ferris Bueller is iconic. It's one of Matthew Broderick's greatest performances. Jennifer Grey, Jeffrey Jones, that's one of the most amazing movies. I wish I was as awesome as Ferris Bueller was. And the last question is bittersweet chocolate. Name a book or film that you were anticipating but let you down. As far as a book goes, that would be Suzanne Collins' Mockingjay. I loved the first two Hunger Games books. People were telling me this was a franchise you had to read. After reading those two books, I was so excited to read Mockingjay, and I was so upset with the way that the book ended. I literally wanted to throw it across the room because I was so frustrated, and I'm not one to really want to throw things like books across a room. I am not sure what the film is going to bring us, but I'm just hoping that the last installment of the film franchise will not give me that feeling that I got at the end of reading that book. And a movie, this is gonna cause some ruckus. It's Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver. I love Martin Scorsese. Goodfellas, Casino, The Departed, Raging Bull. Taxi Driver was that one Scorsese movie that was a must-see. It was Robert De Niro saying, "You talking to me?" He was great. The acting was great. But the movie as a whole was really upsetting to me. It just was, I don't know, too slow. I expected a lot more. All the cool stuff didn't happen till like the last 15 minutes. I was really taken aback by how I felt after I finished watching that movie, because this was supposed to be his classic. It definitely didn't feel like a classic to me. So please tell me what I may have missed, because I will review that movie in greater detail, but I really was not happy. That's the tag, guys, the chocolate book, and now film tag. So now it is time to tag a few people, and I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to give a couple of booktubers a tag. I'm going to give a couple of film critics a tag. So here are the booktubers, guys. I am going to be tagging Sparks Reading, Owls, Books and Movies, Bre Faucheux, Tasman May 101, and Novels and Nonsense. I hope that you guys give me some great answers. I'm really looking forward to that. And for you movie fans out there, I will be tagging Cinema Darling, AtZ Reviews, Teen of Little Hollow. I'm throwing this back to you because I want to see your movie answers, Super Chick 360s, and even though she is not a movie reviewer yet, she's a huge fan of movies. I will post a link to her video that she did on the District tag, because she has done a couple of booktubing videos, but nothing film yet until she did the District tag, and that is Stacy Wilson. So all of you have been tagged. Links to your channels are provided in the box below. I'm hoping that you all enjoyed watching this tag, and I will see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.